Busco refugio hasta que alcance el despertar en el Buda, en el Dharma y en la Asamblea Suprema, que por mi práctica de la generosidad y las demás perfecciones llegue a ser un Buda para beneficiar a todos los seres. Busco refugio hasta que alcance el despertar en el Buda, en el Dharma y en la Asamblea Suprema, que por mi práctica de la generosidad y las demás perfecciones llegue a ser un Buda para beneficiar a todos los seres. Busco refugio hasta que alcance el despertar en el Buda, en el Dharma y en la Asamblea Suprema, que por mi práctica de la generosidad y las demás perfecciones llegue a ser un Buda para beneficiar a todos los seres. Que todos los seres tengan la felicidad de sus causas, que todos los seres estén libres de sufrimiento de sus causas, que ningún ser se aleje de la felicidad, que esté libre de sufrimiento, que todos los seres permanezcan en la comunidad, libres del apego de los amigos y del odio de los enemigos. Reverentemente me postro con cuerpo, palabra y mente. Presento nubes de todo tipo de ofrendas, reales e imaginadas. Declaro todas mis acciones negativas acumuladas desde el principio y me regocijo del mérito de los seres santos y de los seres comunes. Te ruego que permanezcas hasta el fin de la existencia cíclica y que hagas girar la rueda del Dharma para todos los seres. Dedico mis méritos y los de los demás para la gran iluminación. Esta base, cubierta de flores, adornada con el monte Meru, los 4 continentes, el sol y la luna, la imagino como un campo de Buda y lo ofrezco. Que todos los seres disfruten de esta tierra pura.
Okay, so your name is?
Alonso.
Okay, you speak English, don't you? Okay, well, okay, because this class I don't have my translator, so I want to teach just in English, but I'll speak slowly, and so therefore you get 2 classes. You get a class in English and a class in Spanish. Okay. Or you don't get the Spanish, but a class in English. No, a class of the Dharma and a class of English.
Perfect.
2 things for the price of 1. Okay. All right. So, and for those online, yeah, tonight I don't have a translator, but you just, if you speak English, well, congratulations, you're bilingual. And if you don't, well, we'll include you in our prayers. Okay. So, the class tonight, one side of it is it's Christmas time, which is a time of love and affection for everybody, and so that's really an important time. And it's cultural, like today I was in a store, and of course they started to do the song, and it was Santa Claus is coming to town, you better be good. And of course, then immediately it's in my mind for the next half hour, singing that. So it's part of our culture, although maybe in Spanish it's Santa Claus llega a la ciudad, something like that. I heard it on the radio. Anyway, the thing is, though, it is cultural, but that means that the whole culture of Torreon starts thinking Christmas and presents and the family coming together and many things like that. So we don't need to, let's say, as Buddhists, why not celebrate? We're not like a closed religion that says, oh no, only Buddhism. No, Buddhism is very good. Jesus Christ was a saint for sure. Maybe he was a Buddha just manifesting for the Jewish people. Who knows? I can't say, but anyway, the message is good. Love and compassion and such. So anyway, as Buddhists, there's nothing wrong for celebrating other religions' things. In fact, sometimes I go to the misa and listen. I don't really do the misa, although I am confirmed. I can do it, but I don't. But anyway, so I'm just saying it's a good season. It's a season of love and compassion. Very good. So today's class is about attachment, apego. But it's really important to take it in proper context. So it depends on the type of spiritual path you have. If you're in a path of just personal liberation, like I want to be free, I want my mind completely free, it's all I want, I just want that, If you want that, then attachment would be not good. You want to remove your attachments to everything. I have right now an interesting experience. My oldest brother is dying. He's within a week or 2 of being dead, so it's really quite sad for me. But on the other side, I'm participating with how you experience death. because, you know, he's having to give things away and such. So it's funny. So when I visited him 3 weeks ago, and I spent 1 week with him, you know, helping him to talk about how to approach death and his feelings and such. And he's already very spiritual, so there's not a problem. But there was something still he had a lot of attachment to. So we had to discuss those, and one of them was he had a very nice old car, vintage car, but in perfect condition, you know. And he was saying, oh, I mean, me apego mucho. Pero, he says, who can I give it to that will take care of it as well as I did, you know, because he took very good care of it, he cleaned it all the time and everything. So he had a big attachment to it. So we talked about that and said, well, you know, you have to figure out who you want to give it to. And he said, well, I have my grandson who sort of is most eligible, but, you know, I don't know he'll take care of it. You know, and I said, come on, I mean, you're going to be dead, you know, or you're going to try to take your car with you, you know. Anyway, so he finally went, okay, you know, so he gave up the attachment and he gave it to his grandson, which is nice. And then he gave away, he has 2 computers, actually one for video games. Here, he's 80 years old, he still plays video games. Anyway, and he gave that one away, and he was so happy because he gave it to a family that there was a young boy who didn't have a computer, so he was very happy. And that's what you want, like, with your possessions, that you have this idea of like, okay, well, I'm going to die, well, you can get this and you can get this. And if you have that mind, then you have happiness, because you think, oh, this person will really enjoy this, and this person will be very happy with that. So anyway, so he gave that away. But today I talked with him because he's still very lucid. He's dying, but he's not that bad. And he said, oh, I wish I still had my video game computer. I could still play a little bit. Anyway, so still there's attachment, you know. But anyway, we covered that last week, talking about possessions. Today we want to talk about people, you know, our attachment to people. But, so, if we look at the very traditional, I want personally to be free of everything, all of my attachments, then attachment is not good. You have to say, no, you know, they come in. And you can go through some logics, you know, I mean, the teachings, traditional teachings is, you're going to die. And can be many things that will cause you to die. And you don't know when you're going to die. And what will help you when death comes? Your possessions won't help you because they're going to be given away to other people. Your relationships won't help you. I mean, even if all of your family was to gather around your body and hold your arms and hold your legs and say, don't die. You know, I'm saying, like, there's an example for the Tibetans. It's like if you have some butter and there's a hair in the butter, you can pull the hair out, but there's no butter on the hair because it just comes out by itself. So when we die, with all of our possessions or our family, we just come out just ourselves. We leave all of that behind. And I was thinking today even, like, my mother and my father are both dead. I'll be honest, I don't think about them very much. I mean, I love them, but every day I don't think about them, you know. And so when you and I die, well, after a month or two, they're going to think about you a little bit, and then after a year, maybe not at all, except for the Day of the Dead, which is very nice in Mexico. So again, I mean, attachment's no good. I mean, why be attached? No one's going to remember you after you die. You know, maybe a little bit, but not much. So that's a very narrow way to do it, because it's sort of like attachments are bad. But we're in a different style of Buddhism, and our Buddhism is called the middle path and great love and compassion. So, His Holiness the Dalai Lama has even said, you know, we can use our attachments in a positive way. We don't need to abandon them. And actually, even if you think about, like, oh, I want to be free, I want to be liberated, you could say that's an attachment, that's a desire. So you're already having a desire. I mean, you know, after time you would free yourself from that desire, but you still have a desire. So we can't say that attachment and desire are bad, because you even for just yourself, you need that. But we're in a different path. And so our path is of love and compassion. So you can use your attachments positively. You must make them constructive and positive. Because if you think about the negative side of attachment, okay, it's to be attached, and then to be, you could say, let's say, possessive, or then you have jealousy if they're not very nice. Then you also, when they don't do what you like, you get angry. Those are the standard sort of signs that I have attachment. So those are not beneficial, and that you could say is unbeneficial attachment, because you get angry, you get jealous, you get possessive, just all the problems that we would have, you know. So how do you make it positive? So we all have love for people in our lives, and that's something that we can use. So when you think of love, like if you think of like whether you have a brother or a sister that you love, you know, not that you're competitive with or something, but okay, brother or sister, or maybe you have your mother and your father who are very nice, or maybe you have children. With all of those, and when you think of them, especially if you have children or grandchildren or something, or maybe nieces and nephews, then you want them to be happy. And that's actually the definition of love in Buddhism. And love in Buddhism is, may others have happiness and cause of happiness. Compassion in Buddhism is, may others be free of suffering and the cause of suffering. So those are the definitions. So when you talk about good love, you know, not like the negative one, but it's the good love, is may you have happiness and the cause of happiness. So when you bring to mind someone that you love, and in your mind's going to be, I want you to be happy, you know. And so it's an interesting, it's important to recognize the constructive side, the good side of love. You know, it's not like, oh, I love you, what are you going to give me? You know, because often we do that, like especially when you're in a relationship, you say, well, I love you so much, why aren't you nice to me? You know, or something like that. Okay, because that's we want something from that person. But if we really think about, you know, in ourselves, love is, I want you to be happy. You know, I want, you know, more efficient. I want you to be happy and have the causes of happiness. You know, I love you. So, in that way, then, to make it constructive, like the Dalai Lama says, is to use your attachment constructively. Then you have to think about it. You go through a few steps. Okay, so you know, again, the traditional point of view is you're going to die. You don't know when you're going to die. There can be many circumstances that you die, and what will help you at the time of death. That's the traditional points of impermanence, personal impermanence. But you need to sort of just turn that a little bit, and you say, okay, first off, think about some people that have died in your life. You know, whether it's a mother, father, grandmother, grandfather, or something. What do you remember? You remember what they were like, their quality. Like, maybe, you know, they can say, oh, you know, they gave me some money. They were nice people. You know, that's one way to think of it. But really what you do is you think, oh, my grandfather was a really nice guy. You know, I had good conversations with him, you know. That's what we remember. You know, or maybe your grandmother, or maybe an aunt or an uncle, or maybe a friend, you know. And maybe you remember the friend, oh, he was a good friend, but got angry easily, or you know, that was a good friend, you know, we did parties together, but whenever he was drunk, he always wanted to pick a fight, you know. I had friends like that. I never understood it. When I got drunk, you know, when I was young, you know, I was always happy, you know, and then one of my friends would say, I want to go pick a fight with somebody, you know. I'm ridiculous. So what do I remember for those people? Well, I remember that when they got drunk, they were aggressive. So, well, my point is, when you think about the people that have died, what do we remember? Well, potentially we remember like, oh, that was a good person. It was a nice person. It was a generous person. Or maybe we remember, oh, that person had lots of problems, always angry and things. So, when you think like that, then you come back to yourself and say, well, what are they going to remember of me? You know, what am I? Who am I? You know, in English we can say, like, what's my legacy? What am I leaving after I go? What is going to be left behind? What's the legacy? And I think that's really important to think about. very interesting thought to say, okay, well, who am I? Like, what do people think about me? You know, am I rude? Am I miserly? Am I jealous? Or am I competitive? You know, what sort of guy am I? You know, or am I a nice guy? I'm friendly. I'm helpful. I'm peaceful. You know, just I don't know, just the things that they like. Good friends. You know, what do you want? What type of friends do you want? You want good friends. So that's one thing to think of as, okay, what do I remember of people who have died? Well, you know, some of them, like my brother. He's a really sweet guy, you know. He was so helpful. He was a mechanic, and he was always the best mechanic, because when you went to him with your car, he didn't say, oh, I can make money off of you, I can do this and do this. No. He said, okay, well, let's see. Well, you need a little bit, your brakes fixed, and you need this and this, you know, and then he would do it for like the best cost that you could do. So actually, that he's dying now, he has so many people, I'm going to get emotional, but anyway, that are saying, oh, you know, we love you so much, you know, so much love coming to him because he was a nice guy. And he says, I'm overwhelmed with how many people love me. Anyway, excuse me, I'm getting emotional. But that's the sign of being a nice guy. And so what if he's a jerk, you know, and he always stole my money and made trouble and swore at me and stuff. I would say, well, fuck you, and you die quickly, you know. You know. So the point is that again, so it's really important. It's good to think about that stuff. Say, okay, well, what am I? Now, that's one way to think about it a little bit. To think, okay, what am I leaving for the people that are in my life? You know, what are they going to remember me for? That's one thing. Okay. Now, another thing though is that when we die, and it's sort of similar but not, is that when we die, how are we going to feel about the people in our lives? You know, and so the meditation is this: is that you bring death right in front of you, like it's called the threshold of death. So you bring that threshold of death right in front of you. You say, okay, I'm dying now. Okay, what have I been doing with the people in my life? Because we're talking about attachments and people. I mean, that's the big one, people. So, okay, I'm dying. So you could say, well, how do they remember me? Or what did I do? So, example, I mean, let's say, okay, I'm dying and I've got a lot of anger. You know, my brother or my sister really did damage to me, or they stole my money, or maybe, you know, like my friends did this and that, and they made a thing, or, you know, at work, this guy, you know, he made a lot of trouble and I got fired, you know, so, you know, just really pissed off, you know, fuck them, you know, Jesus. So that's why you die. It's like full of anger, full of like, you know, I hate you all, you know. I mean, horrible way to die. But people do it. You know, really they do it, you know. I had a friend of mine, he was a millionaire. And so he's got the money from his father, basically. But the thing is, so his father was a millionaire. So his father got cancer, and it was a slow cancer, so he died slowly. But he had like a phone beside his bed, even though he had cancer. And he was continually calling his lawyers and this and that to try to manage his company, because it was a big, rich company, a big company. And even to the day, like, well, my friend said that it got to within 2 weeks of my father dying, and he was on the phone to this and that person, and finally he said, my dad hung up the phone, and he started to cry. And so my friend said, well, what's wrong, Dad? And he says, I can't control my company anymore. I can't do it. I'm going to die. That was his life, you know. It wasn't about family and this and that. It was about his company and his millions of dollars. And that's the way he died. He died miserable because he lost control of his company, you know. And then, actually, my friend, this is back in the 70s, he became a monk after that. Even though he was a millionaire, you know, he basically gave all his money to Lama Tutanyeshi, my guru, and then he gave millions of dollars to that guy, you know, to this Lama. And he became a monk because he said, fuck it, I don't want to die like my dad did, just so full of like all that stuff. And he's still a monk, actually. I'm quite impressed. I mean, because I was a monk for 14 years, and then I stopped. And they say, why? Because I had desire. Anyway, but my friend, he's still a monk, you know, and things. So, you know, it's good. I mean, he really had, you could say, spiritual determination. But anyway, come back to it, is that when you and I die, you know, how do we feel about the things we did, you know? Are we at peace, you know? Like, with my brother, I helped him to say, okay, well, you know, he had attachment to his car. Well, we talked it through, and he finally said, okay, my grandson can have it. I mean, I don't trust him totally that he's going to take care of it like I did. But hey, I'm going to be dead. You know, what's the point? So he gave it to his grandson, and his grandson came the next day and drove it away. I bought my car. I'm just thinking, how silly, you know? You're dying. It's just, there's no more reason for it. Then he had a very good Apple computer, like really high-end Apple Pro or something like that. And his daughter came to visit him, and he said, well, you know, son, I don't do anything on my computer anymore. Here, you can have my computer. Then after she took it, he said, oh, it's still a little bit of a pay-go. But then he said, you know, she'll be happy. She'll have fun with it, you know, new computer. You know, and then he had the gaming, the video game computer. It was another one. Had a really high-end, you know, processor and video card, so it was pretty good actually. So he gave that to a neighbor kid that didn't have a good video computer. But then even then he said, oh, I wish I still had it for another hour or two, you know. Okay. So he's happy, and he's happy. He's happy that he gave his car away. He's happy his daughter got his big computer. He's happy the boy in the neighborhood has a nice computer. So that's good. That's a good way to die, because he has a sense of generosity, you know. And then for family, you know, I don't get emotional if I talk too much about it, but they're all having an opportunity to spend time with him, and they, you know, they all love him a lot. So anyway, so the point is that how do we want to die? Now, hopefully we don't die for 10, 20, 30 years, you know, but when the Buddhist meditation, make it useful for you to say, okay, I got 5 or 10 or 20 years of my life now. How do I want to be with the people? You know, you can say, what's my legacy? What am I leaving behind for my friends to think about? You know, what sort of guy am I? Or girl am I up? You know, it's like that. That's one thing to think of. You know, and then it sort of becomes meaningful, you know, like, because death's going to happen. You know, I'm sorry, you can't avoid it. So, damn it, like, let me incorporate that in my life. It doesn't mean that we become morbid, but rather we say, okay, hey, I'm impermanent. One day I'm going to go. Well, how do I want my friends to remember me? How do I want the people I love to remember me? How do I want my relationship with the things I own? You know, like that. How do I want to be with those things? You know, I want to be peaceful. I want to say good. You know, I said, you know, hell, I don't want to die, but it's going to happen. So how do I want to die? I want to die well. And that's again, I'm really proud of my brother because he's dying really well. I mean, he's doing really good. I mean, right now, every day he listens to YouTube videos on the death process and going into the bardo, going into the light, you know. And I mean, we all know those movies you go to and they say, don't go to the light. Very well, he's going to go to the light. He hasn't got an option. But, so he's watching these videos, and he's watching, you know, the Dalai Lama and things on YouTube. And then, you know, so he sleeps about 18 hours a day, but when he's awake, he watches those and he thinks about it, and he spends time with his daughters and his grandchildren a little bit. Not too much, he gets really tired. But he's dying really well. He's dying with dignity, you know. Anyway, but we're not there yet. But we want to be like that, I think, you know. I mean, who wants to die with being angry and pissed off about life and, you know, this and that? You know, so no. So, you know, okay, I'm going to be a nice guy. I'm going to try to be a nice guy. I mean, we're not the Buddha, but hey, you know, cultivate myself. Then, the next thing is, you have to think about, okay, I'd say all of us in this room, and maybe you guys online too, we don't remember our past life. I don't remember my past life. I've got years of meditation. I have some guesses what I sort of did, because, you know, I must have been pretty spiritually focused, because here I'm, you know, doing this. I was a Buddhist monk for a long time and stuff, so that sort of thing. Okay, so, you know, I right now am either benefited or have problems from what the guy in the previous rebirth did, and I don't even know who his name was. Okay, so the next one, I mean, this is Buddhist thing, but your next reincarnation, they're not going to know that you were Enrique or Mauricio or whatever. They're not going to know your name, but they're going to get the habits you did. It's sort of like it's the karma. Like, you know, it's not the individual things like I give you this and I give you that. No, it's generosity. that you have a feeling of generosity, sharing, or you have a good set of principles. You know, like, hey, I got good principles. I know who I am. I know what I like to do. You know, so if I've got that in this rebirth, the next guy's going to get it, or the next girl. I don't know, whatever the next rebirth is. If I have patience, you know, these are all like inner qualities. These are what we call spiritual qualities. They're not materialistic. So having generosity, having ethics or principles in your life, you know, having some patience, having some wisdom, having some peace, meditation, you know, so all those things. So that's what I'm going to give to this next guy in line. So it's not like that person's going to know you. So it's exactly like Christmas presents. Like, you know, you're going to make the way you live your life is going to be a bunch of Christmas presents. And the next guy in the next rebirth is going to go, whoa, look at these presents I got, which will be part of that person. But they'll be like, hey, I'm a pretty okay guy. I'm a nice guy. I practice generosity. And then if they happen to get Buddhist teachings, they'll go, oh, thank you, past life. Hey, you did a good job, Cheeto. You know, I like you. You know, thank you for that. And then for the stuff you didn't do, you know, you know, I wish you did better in my relationships. You know, my relationships are so problematic. You know, and then so yeah, so it's sort of interesting. I like that idea. It's not like, oh, my future rebirth. No, it's somebody else's future rebirth who I will have given a bunch of stuff to. So how am I in relationships? You know, how am I with my sense of generosity or sharing things? You know, how am I with my ethics? You know, like, I have good ethics. You know, I'm a nice guy. Do I have clarity about who I am? That's what's going to go to the next rebirth. You know, so it's sort of my presence to that individual. So it's again a sort of interesting way to think about it. Now, we do think about it when we're quiet. You know, in our day-to-day life, we're busy, we're doing stuff. You know, and so at the end of the day, you can say, okay, was I pretty good today? You know, this is standard Buddhism. You know, this check up, say, hey, was I reasonably polite? Was maybe a little generous? You know, was I having good ethics and principles? You know, what sort of guy was I today? You know, okay, so today, okay, how made I? Not so bad. Okay, or maybe today, you know, I got pretty angry at that guy. You know, I was driving my car and somebody cut me off, and you know, like that. Okay, breathe. You know, okay, well, hey, you know, maybe that person was going to the hospital. I don't know. You know, or going to the bathroom. You know, so I get angry. You know, I mean, and the thing is, you know, they're like, you know, 2 kilometers in front of me, and I'm still sitting here angry. What's the point of that? You know, that person left me with anger. You know, or I did it to myself. So what's the point? You know, don't get angry. You know, yeah, it's not nice to have somebody cut you off or do something like that, but yeah, what the heck? You know, why do I need to carry the anger? No. So that's the sort of this other point is then to say, you know, at the end of my life, I like to feel good. That I think about like whether I had, let's say, I had a family, maybe I had a partner, maybe I had children. You know, what do they remember of me? It's one way to think about it. Then the next one is that what am I leaving for them? Like, what do they see? What do they see about me that I'd like them to remember? And when you're dying, you have to think about, like, I'm dying right now, and then maybe, you know, your kids or your partner or somebody comes in front of you. Okay, one is sad. Come on, that's sad. You know, I mean, I'm sad my brother's dying. But then I can say, no, but okay, I had a good relationship with him. You know, we had a good time together. We did fun stuff. You know, we played video games together. He got me into World of Warcraft. It was the worst thing he ever could have done to me. You know, so addictive. So luckily we both quit. You know, it's a horrible game. You know. Anyway, but the point is that so, you know, I had a good relationship with him. I love him. You know, it's okay. You know, good. So when I think of my brother, if I was to be the one dying and he's there, you know, I can say, oh, I love my brother. Feel good about it, or my partner in my life, or whatever. So again, these are interesting thoughts. So Buddhism is actually, this meditation is really constructive, because it's like, how am I living today? And when the end does come, how do I want to feel? It's powerful, you know. And I want to feel good. So how do I make that? Well, I make that by the day doing good stuff, you know, being a nice guy, you know. So anyway, that's the thing. So about attachments, what we should try to think is, what am I offering to this person? What am I going to leave behind with this person and such? So I love them. Well, I'd like to become a better guy. You know, I'd like to be a better person. So they say, hey, you know, Dad was the best, or my brother was the best, or whatever. That would be cool if it ever sort of happened. You know. So that's you don't fight your attachment, because let's say you have a really deep attachment, you know, really powerful, deep, like I really am so attached to that person, you know, I love them, and you know, we have sex together and this and that, you know, wow, really, so much attachment. Okay, don't hassle yourself about this. Oh, I'm a bad Buddhist, you know, there's so much attachment. What's the point, you know? Come on, you have it. Okay, say, okay, I have all this attachment to these people, you know, okay, well, may I offer something good to them? You know, not just my attachments, but may I offer happiness and generosity and other things. You know, may I offer those things to them? That way, then, you start to improve in your relationship. You make yourself a better person. And with a bit of practice, then you will be a little less attached in a negative way. You won't be jealous or possessive. You'll be, okay, hey man, you know, if it's working, it's working. If it doesn't, well, you know, not the best, but okay, whatever, you know. We did. Like, I'm divorced, okay? So, yeah, I wasn't the Buddha with that previous relationship, you know. It was like 20 years ago now. So I'm divorced. So it took me some time to go through the emotions of that, you know. It took me a couple of years to go and work it out. But I can say I tried to do the best I understood. So I don't put myself down. I mean, I have my delusions. But okay, but I tried to do my best. And, you know, when we separated, I wasn't, you know, bad. I wasn't like cruel and nasty and swearing and cussing and things like that. So, okay, so I can say, well, it didn't work, you know, but hey, we're just human beings. Okay, and I offered the best I understood at that time. You know, now I'm a little better. Okay, I have another relationship. It's 18 years, you know. So, you know, I'm a little better because I understood from the first relationship what I did wrong. Okay, I tried to learn how to do it. You know, come on, we're just human beings. But the thing is, yeah, so we think. So even in failed relationships, you know, you can say, well, hey, none of us are Buddhas, but hey, I offered the best I understood. Okay, and I'm sorry for the stuff I did that wasn't very good, but okay, I'm going to improve. So what you're doing is you're taking your attachments, your love, your desire, and you're putting it in a more constructive way. That's good, you know. So following on the Dalai Lama's words, you know, where it says is, don't destroy your attachment, cultivate the attachments which are going to work good for you. So if there's people in your life that you love, then think, okay, I love those people. What I'd like to offer to them is something better, something good. That's what I'd like to offer to them. I don't want to offer them my garbage, my anger, my possessiveness, my jealousy and things like that. No, I'm going to say, okay, I'll try to offer the good stuff. No, it's not easy. Hey, be realistic. It's not easy. But we have that intention, and we will improve, you know, and by then maybe after 5 or 10 years, we'll be a little bit better person. I have one story, okay. In Canada, I had one student, and she was an artist, and artists are always eccentric, you know. I mean, I'm sorry, yes, they are. That's just the way artists are. That's why they produce their artwork, because they're eccentric, okay. Anyway, so she came to the meditation center. We had a meditation center in Canada, and she said, me and my husband were both artists, so we both get really, really passionate, and we get really angry, and we break dishes, and we yell and shout, and we're very crazy with each other, you know. And I wanted to stop. She says, I don't want this anymore. She says, I don't want to leave my husband, but I don't want to get like that. So maybe meditation can help. So anyway, so she came to the center, and she meditated, and came to the classes, and took teachings and things. So for about 6 months. Anyway, so after the 6 months mark, then one day in the middle of the day came on the door, you know, I go open the door, and it's her husband. I'm thinking, bullshit, you know, what's going to happen? And he sits there and just, my hand is, thank you so much, because my wife now is so much better. So it was like, okay, yeah, that's cool, good, you know. Anyway, so you know, she learn how to manage her feelings, you know, and then the husband picked up on it, and he got a little bit better too, you know, so both of them improved, you know, and that was because she worked on herself, not in a negative way, saying, "Oh, my horrible husband, I hate him." She said, "No, okay, I just got to work on myself a little bit." And she worked on herself, and then when there were problems with their husband, she didn't react so much, and things got better. So that it wasn't sort of like gasoline on the fire from the two of them. It was more like, okay, a little bit. So the thing that was like 25 years ago. So I do know that they continued a very good relationship, and both quite spiritual and things like that. And she got really a lot more under control for herself, and then that helped her husband get under control. So yeah, good. Okay, so we're going to meditate. It's always good. So hey, you have some thoughts. Okay, so think about your own life. I like a couple of things. Okay, just to clarify. One is, what's my legacy? What am I going to be remembered about me? And it's not egocentric. It's like, what am I leaving behind? What will people remember if they think about me? That's one thing to think. Okay. Second thing is, what about me, my future rebirth? What's that guy going to get? Is he going to get my garbage, or is he going to get some nice stuff that says, hey, And if he reads Buddhism, he say, hey, thank you. Anyway, even if he doesn't get, then he'll sort of be benefited in some way. So that's the second way. And that's, I think, those two thoughts are really quite powerful about us. And that way we're not fighting our attachment, because we all have attachment, come on. I have my jealousy and I have my attachment and things, for sure, 100%. I have my delusions. But I'm not gonna sort of say, oh, I'm a bad Buddhist. No, I'm gonna say, okay, I'm gonna work on myself. I'm gonna be better. And I'm gonna take my attachments with me to enlightenment. Meaning is, the people that are in my life and such, I'm gonna take them to a more enlightened place, okay? So with that thought then, take a comfortable posture. We're gonna meditate for like 10 minutes, okay? So those on you online, take a comfortable posture. Think about it. We're talking about people and relationships. Okay, so when I die, I'm only going to be left with how I related to those people, what I did with those people. Am I going to be happy with what I did, or am I going to be angry? So that's one very good thought to think of. Then, what are they going to remember me? And then, what am I giving to the next guy in line? As we continue to meditate, just go through the 4 steps of mindfulness. Just helps us be more in touch with ourselves. So first we just identify I'm inhaling and I'm exhaling, just labeling it. And then with that, move into the full experience of my inhalation, the middle, the beginning, the end of an inhalation, the beginning, the end, the middle and the end of an exhalation. Make it a more full experience. Then include your body. It's the 3rd step. So I inhale, I can just feel my body change with the inhalation. feel my body change with the exhalation, so it's more complete experience of consciousness. And the fourth step is just that I inhale peacefulness, I exhale peacefulness. Just helps us really feel grounded with a full consciousness of inhalation and exhalation with peace. Nice and peaceful. First thing you can do is, if I was to die today, what would people remember me for? That's my legacy. What would people remember me for? Another step in our meditation is bring to mind maybe someone that you love very deeply. So you bring to mind, you feel love inside your body. And then say, may I offer that person something better? I love you. May I offer something good? May I offer a more enlightened relationship? step, a facet of our meditation. So what am I giving to the next guy in line? Giving him the ability to be successful. Giving him the ability to have good relationships. Giving that future rebirth the possibility of having good integrity and honesty. They won't know me, so what am I going to give them? Bring your meditation to a constructive conclusion. You know, yeah, I'd like to become a more enlightened individual. In my meditations, when I have a greater clarity about myself, I'd like to become a more enlightened individual. And that's my offering to the people in my life. A better me. Okay. So anybody want to say anything? I mean, in English or in Spanish, as you wish. You know, any thoughts? I'm just thinking that with my brother, because it's a real situation for me, is the big thing is to say, hey, I love you. You know, you're my brother. I love you. That's what I want to. That's I think the final words I'd like having him to hear from me or to remember of me. Okay, this is something I'd like to say. You guys have anything to say? También en español or en inglés, no problema. Y quién sabe la persona es en línea en español o en inglés, pero eso solamente en inglés.
I have something more for that.
I was thinking, one thing I thought of is that someone that maybe did a lot of damage to me, you know, somebody that really made a lot of problem for me. I thought about that for a little bit, and I thought, if I hold on to the anger that I have about them, then actually they win, because I'm still pissed off, and that's what I'm left with. I don't want to be left with that. So if I don't hate them, I win, you know, because I'm not like, yeah, you're a major jerk, you know, but that's not my problem. You know, you're pretty nasty. You did some bad stuff, you know, but I'm not gonna live in that world that you made. Your point of view. I don't want that, you know. So it's not easy, you know. Come on, we all have people that hurt us, but to say, you know, I don't want to be with the bad mind, because then you win, you know. Then you say, yeah, that person says, yeah, I really did it to them, and you say, yeah, they really did it. You know, of pain, you know. I say, so it's not like, you know, they did this to them. I just say, okay, hey, I don't buy into this anymore. I'm sorry. You don't win. I win. I don't go there anymore. You know. And then you know, and then I mean, and the big thing with someone who's really like a horrible person is that they got to live with themselves. You know, that's who they are. And so one way, that's the opposite of compassion. Like, I mean, think, whoa, man, you got some major stuff to work on, you know. And you know, may you find the path, or something like that, you know. Anyway, so those are some of my thoughts.
Bueno, para mí ahorita como que me abrió más la mente. Este año tuve como que unos problemas emocionales fuertes y cambió pues algo de mi vida, de mi forma de ser.
Sí.
Y pues para mí sí es muy importante lo que acaba de decir, de qué es lo que voy a esperar en mi siguiente vida, qué es lo que le voy a dar a mi siguiente vida de conocimiento. Y pues ahorita me pongo a pensar de que pues tengo que tener un poco, bueno, ya he estado pensando que tengo que tener más control, más equilibrio,
sí,
para mi siguiente vida.
Sí.
Y era como que algo que tenía pensando, bueno, más bien haciendo desde hace muchos años, pero este año fue como que
más fuerte,
muy fuerte, y como que perdí ese objetivo que tenía en mi vida, y pues otra vez de que
sí,
tienes que equilibrarte más.
Sí, pero una cosa es regalos para la próxima vida.
Ajá.
Sí, yo pienso eso es muy importante, es más libre. Ay, sí, mi regalo para usted. Felicidad, más paciencia, más capacidad, más autoestima, más confianza, autoconfianza. Me gusta, tú tienes esto. Si yo hago ahora para tú, es mi regalo para tú.
Sí.
No, pero es una perspectiva importante porque es no mi vida, es mis regalos. Bien, chido. En una manera, esto es exactamente la enseñanza de la Buda. Con el primero noble verdad del sufrimiento. Esto es un causa para muchos cambios. Sí, a mí todo es bien, I'm feliz, no cambio mucho, pero tengo un golpe, tengo un problema. Yo quiero cambiar otra cosa. Esto es stimulation for change, you know. So, el Buda was gracias. Con sufrimiento tenemos mejor intención para nuestra vida. So, gracias Buda, es muy inteligente. Anyway. Okay, so gracias. Dejamos. Son de otro lado del papel. Que por los
efectos de las acciones virtuosas alcanza rápidamente el estado de un Buda maestro y lleva a todos los seres sin excepción a ese estado iluminado. Que la suprema joya de la bolichica que no ha nacido surja y crezca, y que la que ya ha nacido no disminuya, sino que aumente más y más. La joya que concede y colma los deseos, fuente de todo beneficio y felicidad de este mundo, al incorporable y bondadoso supremo Tensin-Gyatso, suplico que todos sus santos deseos se cumplan espontáneamente. Usted es la
Conservante
del
sabio y
sabio,
sostiene doctrina victoriosa Ayushri,
protegiéndola y defendiéndola, actuando, soportándola todo con firmeza. Realizas con maestría oraciones magníficas que honran a las tres joyas. Eres mi protector y el de los demás discípulos. Ruego que tengas una larga vida. Haga lo quites, Padre, ante tesoro de compasión libre de objeto, Ayushri, maestro de sabiduría inmaculada, Barrani, destructor de las horas de más, son capa, corona de los sabios de la tierra de los nieves, los andrapa a tus pies a los picas. Can I find the prayer to you?
I don't remember, but anyway. It's okay. And that's fácil for the mente. Don't worry. Okay. Anyway, gracias a ustedes. Y, mira, hay una cosa increíble. En este Denver Center tienes 4 hombres, ustedes 3 y yo. Muchos centros de meditación se llenan con mujeres. Pero la verdad es interesante en Torreón. No sé por qué, pero there's muchos hombres en nuestros centros de meditación. Es increíble. En general, es mujeres, pero en estas veces hombres son. Quién sabe, es una cosa muy macho en Torreón. Ok, hasta luego. Hasta luego en línea. Bye bye.
Okay, finish.